So welcome back to the part 2. Let's pick up from where we left the previous part of this series. So I finished this much and I did the legs off camera because I thought it's very simple to do that. You just need to roll a cylinder and then pop it in there. So I'm going to be re-showing the process once more just in case you didn't get what I just meant by doing the hands, because they are the same exact process. Now I wanted to make a part 2 of these because the head is kind of complicated to do, so I needed a separate part for it. But yeah, let's actually, before we do that, let's put on a toe, actually a real foot in there instead of just that empty cylinder. So if you can see, it actually bends, so that's a plus point right there. Now let's work on the foot. Now I'll be using more rectangles. Everything's a rectangle while making these kind of action figures or puppets. So sort of like this. Now I think a rectangular shoe, this might be a bit too big. Legs are as big as your hand probably, so let's cut off a small portion of that. Let's repeat the same process right here. Now we finished the upper torso or the rib cage. We have finished the mid part, the lower part, the thighs, the legs, now the foot. So we have the most little amount left to do. And hope you guys are following with me, and hope you guys are getting what I'm telling, because sometimes I tend to get overboard and not even care about what I tell you. What I'm speaking about, so it might get confusing sometimes. So let's put it right there. Oh, okay. That's 1 foot down. One more piece of tape for reinforcement. Does it stand up? Oh my god, it actually stands up. Most of my action figures don't stand up, you know. So I bet it won't stand up after putting the second feet, because I'm an unlucky person. That's just what happens most of the time. Alright. One more piece of tape for good luck. And let's give it a go. Does it stand up? Oh, it stands up. My god, that's lucky. Alright. Now the hands. Hands are... how big do we want the hands? We want the hands to be... okay, we'll take the exact measurements from this drawing once more. So as usual, we want the upper part of the hand on the legs to be always the thickest. So also, the upper arm is very short compared to the lower arm, so keep that in mind. And if you extend your arm completely, it should reach a point just below the crotch, so somewhere right there. So that's a perfect length of the wire. Now let's get our piece of pencil right here and mark that. And that's how big our upper arm should be. We can exaggerate it a little bit, or probably not. That's fine. So let's fold this piece like so. Twice, because we're going to be making 2 upper arms. Also, there is a sort of a bump right here that indicates the shoulder muscle. So we're not going to be worrying about that because that would be too complicated to do using paper. And we can do something like that later on in the process, but the first step is always going to be making the upper arm. So let's do that real quick. Now what I do is take a piece of tape, tape it right there like that, and then roll it. You can take it out, it's much easier to roll it like this. Oh no, the roll opened up a bit. Oh, it's fine. Okay, so that's one done. Let's tape it so it doesn't open up. Now you can put it in there. So repeat the same process 3 more times for the lower arm and the upper arm as well, and make sure the lower arm is a bit longer than the upper arm. So I'm going to show you guys the exact measurements right here. So let's imagine that's the lower arm. Then as you can see, it's tiny bit this bit bigger than this. So yeah, I'll quickly do that and I'll see you when it's done. So before I finish this cylinder, I wanted to quickly show you a quick tip if you don't have long enough wires, just like I don't. So if you run into that problem, you can simply do this. So as you can see, it's too much short for our actual piece of paper, so you can simply put a piece of tape like that right there and fold a piece of wire the other direction so it doesn't open up. Now you're free to rotate it the way you like it and it won't fall off. Pretty sick. That's what I did for the legs as well, and I thought that would be helpful if I told it to you. So I'll quickly roll up these two and I'll see when it's done once again. Now that that's done, I want to share one more quick tip for all the people who are following these steps. You can use a large piece of tape and stick it at the back of the leg like this, so it actually not at the top of the leg though, just at the knee, back of the knee. So I'm gonna cut off the top part. Alright, so what that does is prevent your lower part of the leg from falling down, because if you're rolling things together, they tend to like become a telescope, kind of like that, so it just tends to open up, and you can use this to prevent that from happening. Also reinforce it with some more tape. Now if you've watched other of my other action figure tutorials, you should probably know by now this is what I do for the joints of most of my action figures. That's a fun little trick I came up with and I'm quite proud of it. So I'll use the same trick right here as well. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay, so it shouldn't fall off right there. Pretty sturdy. Yeah, so next thing we're going to be doing is hands and the shoulder pads before we move on to the head. Now the shoulder pads are quite simple. You just need 2 square pieces. You need rectangular pieces more and turn it into ovals. So give it more of an oval shape like this. 2 small oval pieces. Now you wanted to turn that oval into a cone by gently, precisely doing something like this, right? Oops. And then you can tape that together. Cut off the extra unnecessary piece of tape. And there you have 1 shoulder pad. So you can attach this to the top part of your hand, or to the top part of your torso. I'm gonna do the torso like this, so it gives your hand a shoulder pad right there, and that gives it more of a sturdy vibes. So I'm gonna do the same for this, make some hands the way exactly I did the foot, and I'll see you again when that's complete. Okay, finally we get to move on to the head, the most complicated. Probably not, we finished the most complicated part on part 1 of the video, so it's probably the second most complicated part is going to be the head. Now I'm not going to work on the neck because it's too small of a detail, and that's going to need me to go through all the nitty-gritties of the papercraft universe, and that's too boring, so I'll move straight to the head. Now the problem with the head is you can't make it spherical, so the solution I have is just make it cylindrical, like always, right? So that is what I will be doing, and I'm going to be giving the shape of the head beforehand, before I tape it to the actual body. So for that I'm going to be starting with a thick cylindrical piece like this, and sculpting my way through it to make it look like a head. Okay, that's a nice size. Tape it, and then you want to cut a triangular piece like this to make it look like a jaw, like this, and make it a bit more curvy. Now that you have done that, we have to give the top part of the head more of a curvy feel as well. So before I do that, let me make the lower part a bit more sharper. Why does that look like Deadpool to me? Not gonna lie, I could make a Deadpool action figure out of this because it's already red and black. So let's see, how would I handle the head? Now to do the top part of the head, I usually give a lot of cuts, small, not too deep cuts like this, and then very tiny cuts, actually, a lot of them also. Now that gives us a pretty cool freedom to push things inwards as much as we want it. So I will do that and see how much of a spherical shape can I get with it. The cuts are too small, I'm gonna go deeper. Okay, now you can. Okay, it's complicated, it's getting complicated already, so let's just push one piece at a time, like that. Okay, that should be good enough. So I'll quickly tape it. If I pull my fingers out, it's going to open up, so yeah, it opened up. No, not good. This is not good. But that's a very tiny detail you probably don't need to worry about. Making your head look cylindrical is the least of your concerns. If you're able to do up to here, you're basically done with your project. I'm just doing this because it's quite fun to get a nice looking head with your project. So that's what I could come up with. This looks silly. This looks very silly. Okay, so once that's done, we can move on to adding the details. So might as well I use my favorite brush tip pen right here. eye sockets right there, and I'll add the grid lines for the mouth as well, because that's very easy. Now when you draw a circle for the head, this is usually what the bottom of the circle looks like. There's the radius, and the eyebrow is generally at the radius for most of my artworks. There's the nose right there, there's the mouth right in between. So that's the basics. Now I will use my marker because brush tip pens don't work on tape. There's the ear line. Okay, let's make the jaw a bit smaller, that's too big. And then we will work on the rib cage. There's the bone thing right there. And on the back side we will add this detail. Moving on to this guy. Nice, so that's basically how the hand works. Now if you've practiced these stuffs, you should know that I skipped most of the details. For example, the ankle shape, it's more of a cone shape, like as well as the lower hand, but that's details you don't need to really worry about. Let's put our head in there. Now you can just leave it there the way it is and put some paper down there so it doesn't fall off, or you can take another piece of tape and stick the head to the actual piece of body, like that. So you have a decent looking figurine right here. Actually it doesn't have any head, I mean neck, so we will change it a bit. Nice. So there you have it, an action figure, a model, or a drawing reference, whatever you want to use it for, and that is exactly how you make it. So I'm quite happy with this one. I'll be using it for future projects as well, and I'm hopeful that this was able to help you. Actually, let me cut this thing off. Okay, was fine. I just find many flaws with my creations every time. So yeah, that's it. That's a very accurate, proportionate figure that we made, and it's exactly the same replica as this one. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you got some inspiration to do some paper crafts, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment me down below what should I do next in my next video, and share my videos. Thank you, bye bye.